Hi, it's Alex. Today I want to talk about grocery store shopping, and I want to talk about how we as a household approach it and how it has improved my quality of life. And that is that I like to shop at many different stores, and I don't necessarily shop at them with equal frequency. And I've picked a method that optimizes both kind of health and variety and also finances. One concern I've heard from a lot of people these days is that the prices of a lot of things have been going up. And so as I've been getting better at grocery shopping, we actually are spending less money on food now than we were several years back. And part of that is that we bought a house that has a bigger kitchen, so we're preparing more stuff from scratch. But I think part of it is that we're also getting better at how we shop, and I want to talk about our system. The most important thing about this system is to look for different places to buy food. Look for different types of grocery stores. So I want to outline the different types of stores. Everyone knows the sort of typical standard supermarket. So where we live, there's Food Lion, there's Acme, there's ShopRite. If you go a little north into Pennsylvania, there's Weis Markets. There are all sorts of different chains. You live in a different part of the country, you'll have completely different stores. But these are all what I consider like standard supermarkets. And they're somewhat different from each other, but by and large, there are not huge differences between these two stores, both in terms of price and in terms of selection. If you really want to improve your food shopping sort of experience, you want to include other types of stores in your rotation or in your mix. So I want to talk about other types of stores we shop at. Two other stores we shop at are Aldi and Trader Joe's. I kind of lump these together. They actually have a shared history if you look it up. But they're a little similar to each other in that they're a little bit of like discount stores, but that tend to also stock higher quality products. At the same time, they don't have the kind of comprehensive selection that a typical supermarket has. They do not sell all types of products. Now, Aldi and Trader Joe's are also pretty different from each other. I'm going to talk about that at the end of the video if you're interested in it. But I want to launch into other types of stores too. Another store that we shop at locally, this is an independent store. It's called the Newark, Delaware Farmers Market. It's a multi-ethnic supermarket, kind of a lot of different cultures under one roof. You may or may not have something like that anywhere near where you live, but it's another type of store to think about. There are also all sorts of real farmers market. Now that was called a farmers market, but it's not really a farmers market. There are also farmers markets. In my hometown, Lancaster, there is a Lancaster Central Market. Really great place. It's interesting. It's a lot of different individual stands. And there are a lot of farmers markets that are like this, where they have different stands like run by individual independent small businesses, and some of them are like small farms that have their own stand. A lot of them are produce stands that buy things at a produce auction and maybe mix that with stuff from local farms. And then there are all sorts of other food stands. There's a bakery that I used to work at there, all sorts of other stuff. Here in Delaware, there are farmers markets like that. The closest one to me that is kind of large is the Newcastle Farmers Market. It's also like that. If you live, hopefully if you'll find something sort of like this where you live, although I've found that in some parts of the country there are better options than others. So that's another type of store. Completely different type of store, there is small ethnic food stores. So food stores that focus on one or a few particular cultures, specific cultures. So in town here, there's a small Chinese store. There are several small Mexican stores. There is a store that used to be a Turkish store that was sold to a Lebanese family. So this store has a mixture of Turkish and Lebanese products. And there are all sorts of other places like that. I used to live in West Philly. There were all sorts of completely different stores there with food from other cultures, different things. So wherever you live, you can find some of this, and it's going to be different based on whatever immigrant populations live in your area, and also just long-term stable populations. So that's yet another type of store. And I want to throw out one more type of store, which is discount groceries. There's this one kind of near here in Oxford and Quarryville, PA, called BB's. And I love this. It's kind of an adventure. It's not a normal supermarket. You don't know what you're going to find there. Sometimes you'll go there and certain types of products, there'll be none of them, and then there'll be a whole aisle full of like really great energy bar selection, and then you go another week and there's not really a great selection of energy bars. It's very hit or miss. And they often deal with overstock. They can deal with damaged goods, like you have like, boxes that are a little like bunged up in the corner. And so there's a little bit of risk buying something from that. You might open a thing of crackers and some of them are broken. But the prices are so low that it's like it's offering something different. And sometimes I've gotten some really interesting products there that I just don't see for sale anywhere else. Okay, so there are all these different types of stores. Why would you want to shop at different types of stores? Well, one basic reason is that you can get different products at them. There are certain things that I can only get at a particular store. For example, this season I found Trader Joe's often sold blood oranges, but most of the other stores didn't sell them. I really like buying tofu, and the Newark Farmers Market has this Korean brand of tofu that is just fantastic and it's cheap. They only sell it there. It's so much of a better deal than the stuff in normal supermarkets. I could go on and on and on. There are all sorts of specific products that I like to get at specific stores, and if you shop at different stores, you will expose yourself to more and more possibilities. And then the second thing is you will find the same product or similar products for wildly different prices. Another example of this, we buy like marbled Colby Jack cheese, and at the BB's discount grocery, which is still a pretty cheap place, you can get it for like $2.29 for 8 ounces. Well, at Aldi, you can get it for $1.89. So it's 30 cents cheaper for an 8-ounce container. That's 60 cents cheaper a pound than at this super cheap discount market. So things can be crazy like that. There can be really huge disparities. Like right now there's an egg shortage. A lot of stores, eggs are $6 a dozen. Some of them are even more than that. But I got them the other day at Trader Joe's for $3.50 a dozen. Sometimes though they're sold out, so it's kind of hit or miss. So if you go to these different stores, you'll both be able to get different products and you'll be more likely to get deals on the same products. So how do I manage doing this? I do not go to all of these different stores with equal frequency. We have somewhat of an informal rotation and we try to plan ahead a little bit. But the general pattern that we follow, we have a store that is very close to us. It's actually the closest supermarket to us. It happens to be a Food Lion, but it's not really important what it is. We pick this store because it's close to us and it has a good selection of produce. The produce tends to be high quality and it tends to be pretty cheap. So we go to the store very frequently. We go to it much more frequently than any of the other food stores we go to. And we go to it primarily to get perishable goods. So we mainly buy like dairy and produce there, mostly produce. And this is important because it's important to eat fresh fruits and vegetables, but these things often go bad quickly. So you need to go to the store frequently. You do not want to drive frequently to a store that's very far away. So try to find your very local stores that can get you fresh produce. The best option, and I unfortunately don't have a store like this here, but I have some other places I live, the best option is if there are places you can walk to or you can walk by them on the way somewhere else. And then you can be like, oh wow, I just need like, fruit, or I need some type of vegetable, I'm going to pick it up on the way home. That's the best way to do it. And then you can go shopping 3 or 4 times a week for just like little items and throw it in your bag, whatever. Unfortunately, I can't do that where we live now, but that's the best way of doing it. So you find the store that is good for produce and perishables close to you. Then you have these less frequent trips that you go farther away. And you want to plan these a little bit in advance. So as an example of that, today we went to Aldi, and the main thing we wanted there was frozen seafood. Aldi has a fantastic frozen seafood selection. That's one of the things that kind of brings me in the door. And a lot of the other stuff I like most about Aldi is also either things that are non-perishable or have like a fairly slow rate of perishing. For example, cheese. They have a pretty good selection of cheese. And they're pretty good on like nuts, dark chocolate, things like that. So we don't go there very often. We go there less than once a month. But when we do, we tend to spend a lot of money and we tend to buy all this stuff. So our freezer is now full of frozen fish that I got at Aldi. for a really great price. And once we've gone there, then the next big trip we will take to a completely different place. The previous trip we took to a big place was going to BB's grocery in Oxford, PA, which is that random discount grocery. And I happened to pick up a lot of like energy bars when I was there, and also just like some random things like some flour. They also have really great prices on pretzels. I'm from South Central Pennsylvania, so I like hard pretzels. You know, the point is, you want to plan these longer trips based on non-perishable goods that are running out that you can store long term. So that's the general idea. That's probably all most of y'all want to listen to, but if you want to hear more about the specifics, I'll mention a little bit about the specific stores here that I shop at. I've already told you about the Food Lion. That's a kind of normal supermarket. We also have Acme in town. I hate Acme. Once in a while I'll go in there to buy specific products, but I really dislike Acme. I think Acme is really overpriced. There's Acme here. I lived in Jenkintown, PA. There's an Acme there. I almost never shop there. The produce is not very good. The produce is overpriced. They don't have the kinds of products I want. I could just go on a rant about how awful the store is. So that's my feelings about Acme. I don't go there often. Trader Joe's, I have a love-hate relationship to Trader Joe's. I've been shopping there for years, but I don't shop there frequently. The thing that I dislike most about Trader Joe's is it's all trendy and it's constantly getting new products in. Like, it'll have some fad and it's like all of a sudden, oh, everything is ube flavored, and then it's just like 6 months later, all those products disappear. So if you liked one of them, well, you're out of luck now. You'll never see it again in your life. And that's how I feel about Trader Joe's. They have discontinued dozens of things I liked, and it pisses me off. I like stability. I want to like try a product and get used to it and be like, wow, this can become part of my life long term. And Trader Joe's is terrible if you like that kind of stuff. It still is a good store overall. There's a lot of stuff I like about it. It's really great for citrus. It tends to have good yogurt selection. It has some interesting smoked fish. It has a huge selection of different types of packaged breads. The one near us has started stocking very good bagels. So there's all sorts of stuff that I like about it. But it's very hit or miss, and it really discontinues stuff a lot. Aldi is sort of like Trader Joe's. It's a little more of a discount store. I love their seafood selection. I love their cheese. There's some things I hate about it though. The store is just crammed full with sugary things with lots of added sugar, junk food. A huge portion of the store are products that I would never touch, and it kind of makes me mad because it's like taking up space on the shelves, that could be stocked by things I would actually buy. So again, I have a love-hate relationship to Aldi. Other stores, I really love the Newark, Delaware Farmers Market. It's this multicultural store. There's so many different cultures under one roof. There's so many different types of produce. I swear, like every time I go in there, there's some type of produce I have never seen before in my life, and I just love it. Sometimes I try stuff, sometimes I just sort of look at it and I'm like, I wouldn't even know what to do with this. But it's just a great store, so I'm always happy to shop there. And then, yeah, those are some of the bigger stores. That's pretty much what I have to say. This approach to eating has really improved my life, and it saved me a ton of money. I hope you can get inspired to think like this too, and to try it out and see if it improves your life and your finances. Thank you.